Lin does win the ball higher up. And Altona just get to let the pressure off. Latini. Once again, the quick kick in. He's put under immediate pressure by Cruz, who does brilliantly well. Hustles him out of play and gets Fitzroy that ball back. And they go quickly with Russo. Robotis. Looked for a way pass but couldn't find one. Seblock has Latini and plays him early. Bit of a loose touch and it allows Suede to steal in. And Maliaros just to calm things down. Russo. Cruz. Back with Russo now, Suede. Cruz once again goes wide to Robotis. The fluidity in this side starting to show as Robotis look to give it back to Russo. The ball just a bit behind the Fitzroy man. Now look for Altona. Can they find something to get themselves a goal in this game, break the Fitzroy clean sheet this season? They've caused a couple of loose passes, Adam. Do you sense that they may be getting into a period now to get back on top in this one?
They haven't exactly had to really do too much, Fitzroy. They've had everything go their way. They've had every move almost straight off the training court and onto match day so far, and all considered, they are not too far away from strolling in to get another 3 points as they work straight off the back of their first win in the competition.
Ooh.
Although Jaramillo had a bit of breathing room, and now Russo
can go the other way. Had a ball for Suede, who was at the back post unmarked. And it was just too much on it. Jaramillo, with an audacious effort, he wasn't far away from Maliaros' goal. And a yellow card has been brandished, I think, to Michael Latini over on that Altona bench. Obviously 2 reds for them last week. As we go live again, Pira hustled off it by Suede. He's been brilliant in his defensive effort and then skips past Yanni Pira before just running out of room in trying to find Harry Robotis. Pira uses Jaramillo. Immediately put under pressure. They're not letting them out. That's a lovely turn from Pira. Pass 1, pass 2. Benny Chu in the end had to bring him down.
Oh, and a bit unorthodox from Chu. He sits down Yanni Pira, who had the beating of the Tiger in a one-on-one situation. Don't mind that at all from the Magician. What can Altona find? There's adequate time for a consolation prize. That's, of course, if Fitzroy are feeling romantic, especially on the day of romance, as Chu skipped around. Once again, nobody home in goal. And that would have been yet another long-range effort going in for the Tigers. Although it never found its journey home. Not too far away from Chu.
It would have been another spectacular goal for Fitzroy. Chu not a million miles away. Jaramillo once again caught out. And having seen Scott Rogan's effort, he thought, why not take it on myself? Agonizingly wide from being some all-important goal difference for Fitzroy at the moment, as Maliaros again guards his near post well, and Rogan is able to release Chu, who just can't skip round Natoli. That was close. Jaramillo to Pira. Has a drive. Maliaros stretched, but in the end, wasn't too well worked to see it go wide. And as we mentioned, Adam, goal difference so important to Fitzroy. The win tonight would draw them level on points with Moreland, whose goal difference is already at +20. And for the Tigers, having seen that already, the pace being set from their biggest rivals, they need to respond. Rogan. Well, Jareen tries to get away from Seblock, and yet another handball from the Tigers, who have just crept their way up in terms of fouls in this second half. It's Natoli. Altona trying to be more patient in their approach. Seblock hustled off it by Rogan. Has Waljareen. Gives it back to Rogan. Back to Waljareen, who gets his hat-trick. And it is wonderful, wonderful futsal from those in pink. They make it 9. And they make it a massive statement, not just to Moreland, but to the rest of the chasing pack, that the reigning champions aren't going anywhere.
Certainly not. A brilliant team goal from Scott Rogan, capped off, of course, by Saka Waljaran. Tantalising futsal. So composed in that pressure situation. It's like time stands still. It's like as if you have that feature in GTA 5 where you're playing as Franklin and you hold down both the L2 and R2 control. Time just seems to stop for Scott Rogan when he has possession. Although it's in real time for everyone else, for Flash, it seems to come to a pause. As goal scorer turned goal line clearer out of Waljaran at the depth of that play.
It's an excellent clearance from Waljaran to preserve the clean sheet. And in the case of Scott Rogan, we'll come back to it as Nick Ormond. Maliaros gets down well and gets a strong hand, and Waljaran calms it down. Cleverly so. Chu looked for Wicked or Rogan, neither of them went for it. And now Pira dances his way through, gives it to Natoli, it doesn't open up, opens up for Seblock! And that is a brilliant hit. It would only take something special to break the clean sheet. And my word, Adam, he caught that sweet.
Brilliant, brilliant move. Or finish rather, not so much the move. It was all fluidity rather displayed from Yanni Pira. He was just busting his way forward. He had no right to get around the people he did on this commentator's side. And once it fell to Seb Wicket, the ball had bounced off the frame of the goal and back out. Mind you, it hit the back of the net. It was hit with such power. Maliaros flung it thin air. He could not get across to save. And efforts like those, you cannot keep out. Although, Ethan, what's developed here?
Fitzroy have passed 5 fouls. They need to tread some serious water here. The clean sheet already breached. And those in pink just need to be cautious with how they go about the rest of this game. A lot of hot takes from it on the bench. Didn't think it went the right way. As Rogan in on Seblock. There's a bit of feeling in that one from the Fitzroy number 7. And Altona with Natoli. Jaramillo out once again. Finds Nick Ormond. Gets past Turner. Jaramillo. Natoli again. Seblock, this is well worked. Found its way through Wicket's legs to Pira. Looking to work in angle. Nothing on, so he starts again with Natoli, who tries to find it. Wicket has a go. Natoli's header, and it's in. A desperate last-ditch effort from the Altona captain was in vain, as Fitzroy, for the first time this season, hit double figures.
And there it is. Out the Knights, of course. You could argue have had all their armour stripped off at the minute, considering Fitzroy have opened them up and then some. They've hit double digits for the first time this season. Although Seblock pulled a consolation prize right out the hat, it won't really stand for too much in the complexion of this one. And it looks as if the Tigers, with 4 minutes and 40 seconds left, are not taking their foot off the gas at all.
They come again, with Waljaran ran eventually into an Altona player who finds Nick Ormond, just can't get it under control. And in the end, Turner just couldn't keep that one in play. It's good defending from Gluak again. As we go to a timeout, it's been all Fitzroy in this one, just under 2 minutes to go. And the Tigers have roared. They lead Altona by 10 goals to 1. back again with Scott Rogan as the fly. No one in goal for those in pink. And we saw Pascoe Vale trial this last week, and it looks like for the final 4 minutes, Fitzroy, despite having wounded the Knights, are going to go for the jugular. Rogan. Lovely ball from Russo. Well, Jareen. Russo! Wicket got a knee, and it didn't find the back of the net. Jaramillo, as Maliaros gets back in goal now, and Harry Robotis gets a foot in. And we saw this last week. Pascoe Vale used the fly. Scott Rogan in it in Fitzroy blue in terms of that fly keeper kit. Does it give you the sense that they're aware they've got some goals to make up?
It somewhat makes me aware of that. They know this contest as well. It's become somewhat, in all due respect to Altona, but it's somewhat become of a training exercise having the fifth men utilised. Meanwhile,
as Russo finds well Jareen, and Jaramillo does well, does very well. Well, Jareen waited on the shot, tried to go through the legs, and the Altona keeper's hurt himself here.
And Natoli might have just climbed over him, although he's clutching perhaps at his right leg, the lower part of it, that of Jaramillo. He's had a lot to do tonight. It's not a fair representation of his goalkeeping acumen. Tonight's contest, he gets really revved up for games, of course. He's been seen around Brunswick when playing in a social match. He'll still do a warm-up. He might run around out of the footy and soccer facility residing across the road of Victoria, of the Futsal arena on Victoria Street in Brunswick, just doing some warm-ups. He takes every game as if it was the real thing, so you can't exactly fault the man on effort.
You definitely can't, and you can't falter that move from Fitzroy as they make it 11. Well, Jareen again at the back post. And it was just scintillating from the Tigers. And it's an absolute mauling for Altona. 11-1 to Fitzroy. And we talk about a statement, they've just been far too good. Jaramillo looks okay, but there was nothing he could do about it.
An aspect, of course, that is, I'm sure, worked upon in training, considering it is always on, whether you like it or not. Even if a goalkeeper is in goal and not off his line, it is always on to try go over the top. And I'm sure all clubs, not just Fitzroy, would utilise training that in drills.
They definitely would, and it looks like a well-drilled plan as Jaramillo this time, alert to the danger, got a strong hand behind it. As you see Scott Rogan venture back to the bench again, and Maliaros return to his position between the sticks. Latini uses Jaramillo, who goes long looking for Orman. That's a lovely touch to take it down from the number 20, who cuts inside, tried to work the angle for the shot, only ran into Cosy Russo. Jaramillo and Latini look to get them going again, but only finds wicket, and now Russo's through, one-on-one, Jaramillo, wicket, Russo! It's wonderful, and Cosy Russo just stayed high, and he just kept going, and Fitzroy have 12.
Thankfully there's a scoreboard, considering if there wasn't, it'd be difficult to recall all the goals in which we've witnessed tonight from the Tigers. Meanwhile, they've got an advantage played, and they'll turn in for 13. An incredible feat we're witnessing from the penultimate side in Australia. They are making light work of the Knights. What can really be said other than, as it might be stated in the comments section, and I quote, Fitzroy looking good this week. They're looking more than good. They're looking the genuine article yet again. You wonder what's going through the mindset, of course, of other teams residing in the competition. And bear in mind, that's foul number 6, so the Knights might have an opportunity, in fact they will do, from the spot for yet another consolation prize.
Well, Jareen was just in a bit too hard. You talk about Fitzroy looking good. More than just a genuine article, they look in scintillating touch.
Irrepressible, though, might be the word, Ethan, not to cut you off, but meanwhile.
Latini saved. Maliaros adjudged to have gone outside the area, so it will be a retake and a yellow card. for the Fitzroy number 1. Judged to have crept too far forward, and Latini, having missed the initial attempt, will get another look. Steps up. Maliaros covers well this time. 2 wonderful saves from a man who's really, really given a good showing of himself tonight. Tested more than maybe he would have thought going into this evening, Adam. But he's been just so sharp. He's been alert to everything Altona have thrown at him, and it took an absolute screamer from Seb Locke to breach that clean sheet, and he gets Robotis going, who has a chance. Took too long to get it away, and Latini's able to dive in and make another challenge that prevents another shot going the way of Jaramillo. But Fitzroy, with Rogan, who's back out as the fly, uses Robotis deepest. Now Rousseau, back with Rogan. Well, Jareen, Rogan, you can see wickets move to the back stick. Robotis, Rousseau. They work it well again. Patient in their approach. Rogan, Rousseau, lovely little ball inside. Fabulous footwork, brilliant finish. And this has gone beyond the route. Fitzroy at their ferocious best.
Yet another. Players from Fitzroy really enjoying this one. They're all in on the goal scoring party. Nothing short of a Valentine's evening delight, as Latini will just want to kill the clock. Altona looking for the full-time whistle. Gaby Zabios just encouraging those on court. Wicket will turn it in. It's rather ugly viewing, you could argue, for our opening fixture of round 3 as it finally draws to a close. I believe it was a 15-1 win in favour of the irrepressible, irrefutable, 5-time champions of the Fitzroy Tigers. And as it all draws to a close, we're a little bit confused as to what exactly is transpiring.
Is it drawing to a close? It looks as so.
We'll have to go back and play 1 second. They'll have to go up and play for 1 last second, according to Turv Atanasov. This is a Darebin first. In the comments, if you might know the last time this occurred, perhaps at Tomo, or even before such. Well, Latini will kick it out of play, and that will be full time. Scott Rogan believes there's 5 minutes left of play. Ethan Reek, that's a first of experience together. Not to pinch the reins back off here from play-by-play, but, well, a peculiar ending to our opening match.
A bizarre end to a brilliant performance from those in pink. Fitzroy were ferocious as the Lions have roared for the first time in 2025. And Altona was simply no match. As we reach full time here in Darebin, it is Fitzroy 15, Altona 1. I'm Ethan Rigg, here with Oscar Bryan. Oscar, a fabulous performance from your boys tonight. We're too strong from start to finish. What's the feeling around the team after tonight's win?
Look, it's pretty good. Obviously, just going through the gears at the start of the season, there's a few things we obviously need to work on. The finishing, for one. I think tonight we could have put a lot more past them, but you know, we'll get there, working hard at training. But yeah, around the group, the feeling's good, and yeah, we'll keep going.
Obviously, you came off the bye last week as well. Sometimes that can prove tricky, having that week off. What was the message in and around this team coming into this game?
Well, yeah, we trained obviously in the week we had the bye, and we're still working hard. So the message was pretty clear: just go out there, play what we've been training, play the system, and yeah, I think we did that, and we played well, and we won. So yeah.
And finally, just one more from us. Pascoe Vale next week. They looked good last week. A big test for your boys coming up. What do you think the approach will be going into that one?
Yeah, of course, they're a good team. But I think still we're just going to stick to the plan, play the way we play. We know on our day we can beat anyone in the league, and that's what we'll do.
Amazing. Well played tonight. Thank you very much, mate.
underway for the second clash of round 3. It's Hume who lock horns with Western United. Hume looking for their first points or point of the season. United hunting to remain in the winners column, having gotten there last week, sat on 4 points. Enjoying this early start to the season are those in black and green. Adam Plummy, Nathan Rigg on the call for this one. Let's see what's on offer for our second outing of round 3. Ethan, your early prediction in this one.
Western United have the chance to go top with a win tonight. And I don't think it's an opportunity that they will let slip. They'll be well aware of the fact that Moreland and Fitzroy will have a game in hand, but they get to move a point clear at the end of proceedings this evening. And I think this will fire that team up to claim all 3 points and reach the summit of the table.
Have a quick look of the lineups this evening for both sides, as Tal Galpa is enjoying life at Western United so far, the newly minted player. He's shot an early indication of what perhaps is to come this evening. Gerardo Soto on court with Elias Parthamos. Aaron New, who was beaten early on, and a quick start. And it's Julio Campos, who's instinctive upon the first opportunity fired. He fires in from close range beyond Aaron New. A quick start to this one, and it's in favour of the Black Army in white stripes. Ethan.
Who saw that coming? Hume with the first chance of the game. And it's a brilliant finish as well into the top corner. Gives Aaron Yu absolutely no chance. And if they're on the look to get their first points of the season, it's a perfect way to go about it. They've made a brilliant start.
Just to finalise those lineups, it was Moseni on court with Parthamos and Skopolidis. Aaron Yu, the goalkeeper. As for the Black Army, Kardatic is the goalkeeper. Lockie Ramadan on court, makes a standing challenge on that occasion. Venegas joins Campos and that of Sebastian Bequero. That gets our state of affairs just pointed out for the meantime. Bear in mind, Ethan, that there's a couple of signings, or a duo of players coming in and coming out. That, of course, Taizé Sakurada. It might just be his last game for the foreseeable future for Western United, the Japanese international. Looks as if he's returning home. We've really enjoyed the time he's spent in the competition, of course, with Altona, and now currently with United. Is there a parting piece from a departing player? But coming in is none other than the boss. Luke Ross finally resides in Western United colours. He was tipped to join them. That, of course, in season 1 of 2024, although he went to their Western rivals of Western City, in whom went on to finish 3rd in that season's competition. He's back in SFV competition, making his debut for his new club and at the new facility.
How good is it to have him back? He was top for Western City in season 1 of 2024, was a big part of them finishing 3rd in the table. And Western United will be even happier to have pinched him from their local rivals. But on Sakurada, the club announced it just a couple of hours ago, before tonight's game, that it would be his last for the foreseeable future. And having made a strong start this season, he's going to be a big loss for them.
Forget his on-court ability. I was talking to Noel Soma prior to this one kick-starting, and he provides a lot of positivity in the locker room. Does the coffee enthusiast of Taizé Sakurada, a large personality, in which I'm sure will be sorely missed, not just by United players, but the competition as a whole, as Bequero wanted to use the keeper, although Attic realised he couldn't touch it. Now United with Moseni have a corner. Skopolidis, a lot of size about Darcy these days. He's been, could argue, in the gym, bulking up. He's looking that real strong type kind of players. In possession now, utilises Parthamos. Moseni lurking, receives it first time back for Parthamos. Keep in mind, Ethan, of course, that Erkan Barakli, 2 goals last week, sweetly taken off his left boot, will falter to suspension. He was sent off in that Victory United had received last week, and it was unnecessary to receive the double yellow.
It's very unnecessary to pick up 2 yellow cards in a game where they were in total control from start to finish, those out west. And he'll be a miss for them tonight. He's a real live wire. He's able to get the ball in tight spaces, and he's a good user with a sweet left foot. They will miss him sorely tonight. And in the meantime, those utilising have got big shoes to fill.
Having a glance at the Black Army's bench, of course Rudy Wickett alongside Alan Kolak. Well, usually it would be alongside Alan Kolak, but can't seem to pick him out at the minute. I think he might be on the opposite side of the court. There's Alicech, Chinos Bertras. A return for a player we haven't seen in some time. That, of course, of Ethan Aroglu. Also on the bench, as is Maluma and Argo. As Luke Ross, the moment has arrived. He makes his debut in Darebin and for Western United, representing their number 5 on the back of his kit. As his first touch, was a tremendous player for Western Australia at the National Championships in Parkville. In the short memory, of course, of January when the competition transpired, he's done supremely well to rectify that defensive deficiency from United, where Lockie Ramadan might have had a glance for goal. Parthamos trying to skip around Venegas. Of course, no stranger to his counterpart this evening. Adam Venegas had championship playing experience with the black and green, before, of course, trading across to Northern Phoenix. Decent start to this one, though. And, of course, in recent weeks, the Black Army have been somewhat scrutinised. Performances against Moreland and Fitzroy, very tall orders. They hadn't exactly been able to have a foothold in those games, Ethan, but tonight so far they've had a foothold in this one.
And they seem a lot more positive as well, Adam. You saw in the games against Fitzroy, but especially last week against Moreland, they looked almost initially to sit deep and invite them onto them, seeing if the break was the way that they'd be able to have their joy and to cause them problems, whereas they sense at the moment that Western United, just with the way that they've started, are there for the taking. It's a much more physical approach, but they're committing the numbers forward, and they're a lot more confident in the way that they go in their approach play when in possession.
Jerry Angelatos there with Angus, the greyhound. Angelatos in a brother duo press of the Black Army in their defensive third. Have a tame possession with the side ball. Parthamos onto his left, Ramadan blocking. And bear in mind, we haven't mentioned this very well-equipped United bench. Hussein Nassini or Marabi as the understudy goalkeeper to Aaron New. Plenty in support. Gerardo Soto, Ferrat Castro, David Yakub. There's other players we just can't see at the minute. Noel Soma and the King, Fernando de Moraes, all with Solomon Mohammed. A true team feel about United. There's so many club officials that they have, and a real united nature for their namesake. As the Angelatos brothers come together, Jerry, a touch customary.
But it's better from Western United. They've been a bit slow when it comes to the start of this game. A lot of misplaced passes, and although that is one there, the intent is there to get further up the pitch. They had some defensive frailties and looked a bit panic stations at the back, having been rattled with an early goal. But for now, you can tell they're just trying to calm things down in their approach, and this man here, Luke Ross, is going to be a massive part of that. So assured in possession, and he looks to give them an extra dimension when it comes to taking the ball up the court.
Keeping a firm eye, of course, on Luke the Boss Ross. Had scored against the Tigers in that opening National Championship men's campaign, of course, which Western Australia had won 4-2. Although the same feat could not be completed in the final. We all know how that went. go with Pequero and Campos, the opening goal scorer in this one. Although they worked themselves into a bit of a jar and out of play.
They ran themselves into a cul-de-sac, and Western United were quick on the press in order to win the ball back.
A cul-de-sac. Ethan, can you explain what a cul-de-sac is for those that might not know, including myself?
So, we have a lot of them back home. A cul-de-sac is basically a street where at the end of it, it loops round back on itself, and it's you go in one way, you go out the other way. It's kind of like with a circle at the end.
And for those that don't know where back home is, Ethan, a bit more about yourself. Back home, of course, in England, but whereabouts?
Back home is Salisbury, England, in the southwest, county of Wiltshire. Some would call it God's country. Home of Stonehenge and a lot of older buildings, not too far from Southampton. Glorious part of the world.
If you don't know, now you know. To quote Dana White. As Lockie Ramadan took over momentarily. The boss will look for the back post, which Gerardo Soto might have been. He couldn't get his feet right, the big fella. And ultimately, Attic will go very, very long for Ramadan, who was competing with Aaron Yu in a makeshift marking contest almost.
And Aaron Yu did very well to just draw his arms down at the last second and avoid giving away a corner. It's the first time we've seen Hume properly go really, really long. And already you can see that they might want to utilise that again. Western United got away with one, but they didn't necessarily deal with it very well.
The boss wants Angus Angelatos, Attic, good use of his body. Aggressive forward pass, Ramadan will be cut off. Lots of composure about Luke Ross. We'll get it back from Soto. Forward movement from Angelatos. Maluma on court to try to deal with that threat. Fizzed into the mixer, really. And Attic was a bit uncertain and will try going over the top. He possesses that, of course, with that Australian rules football background. Although he never really had genuine connection. 8 minutes played so far. The opening goal in favour of the Black Army in white stripes. It was Julio Campos, vigilant on the spot, having the effort initially dispatched, bounce out towards him from Aaron Yu, which has had the state of affairs at 1-0. As Yusuf Alicic utilises the goal scorer. A very calculated approach from the Black Army tonight so far, Ethan.
And it's completely different from what we saw last week and against Fitzroy as well. This Hume team are unafraid to get on the ball and play. And you can see it there, a fabulous ball between the lines, just maybe a little bit too much on it. Allows Aaron Yu to steal in. But they look to be causing way more problems, and there seems to be a much better energy about the way that they've approached this one.
Not far away at all, and that really transpired from nowhere, Ethan. Talk us through it.
He should have scored. Fabulous work over on this near side from Andreas Avgo to keep it in. Rolls it to the back post, and it looked like he just didn't get the cleanest connection on it. Squirmed it wide. A massive chance wasted for Hume to double their advantage.
And you might argue it might be against the balance of play, considering United have had a fair amount of the ascendancy, although they haven't seemed to do much with the possession that they've been putting. There's Avgo for Maluma. Try the provocative pass for Ramadan. He's backtracking. He gets in the nick of time to keep it away from Jakub. Alicic, change of direction. Avgo takes a nice touch into his stride. Ross slides and does just enough for you to control it. Now Parthamos with Alicic. Ramadan, a man possessed, will claim it's their ball. And Trev Atanasov will deem that to not be the case.
Looks like a Western United ball, despite the protests from those in white. And Luke Ross, so important in them winning the ball this far up the court. Timed the challenge well, didn't go too early, and almost show his hand and give himself away. Got it to perfection.
Alicic, mind you, Ethan was trying to utilise Ramadan's nice move from the Black Army, and that man there, tossing off to the Hume bench, has been at the heart of majority forward movement. That of Ramadan. I've enjoyed his so far. So far.
He's done well. He's been a handful for this Western United defence. He's run the channels. Has been unlucky, maybe not to make more happen, but has been very, very good in terms of its approach. It's been a more doggish approach from him in terms of trying to bully this Western United team, especially on the long ball, but when it gets played to feet as well. And he's been a big part of why Hume have just been able to showcase what they're made of when they do get possession. Fortunately, not one they'd like to relive there, as it's a bit of a giveaway. And Parthemos can get Western United going, utilising Luke Ross. Fakes the shot, surveys his options, has a go anyway, and Attic gets a strong hand to tip it over for a corner. Western United's first real clear open effort as Yakub uses Ross again. Now Parthemos rolls it back for Ross's drive, and that one, first one tested the keeper, that one was well wide.
And there's a special guest appearance, haven't seen him in some time, but Mo Tanker joining his former understudy, now current deputy, Kolak, in the stands. Mo Tanker, of course, spent a long time with the Black Army. On 2 occasions, prevented them from succumbing to a playoff position, kept them up in the competition. As this is a new era. As Soto, deep ball, will try to find that of Yakub. No found. Finding Ethan so far. United's approach, they haven't exactly done too much the key card at it.
I was going to say it's been quite lackluster. It's lacked a real stick to the ball for United, but Hume are happier to sit in and to sort of let them come onto them. That was the first real time they were able to properly work it wide, and Gerardo Soto fired a ball into. Unfortunately for him, nobody was home, but what they need to do at the moment, Adam, is create and test Attic a bit more.
Attic was tested there, considering it was Parthemos with a vintage step over towards the near post, which the keeper was vigilant towards. It's Luke Ross. He tried putting on a plate for Talgalpa, who's on court. Ross has time. Fizzes in towards Parthemos. He couldn't control. Attic quick for Alicic. Yakub defends nicely. Ross, lovely use of the body. He looked up towards goal and he will bounce off of.
And Luke Ross is quickly becoming the key to this game for those green and black. A sharp turn to completely open the court up. He's looked short in possession and now has finally got the chance to roam a bit further forward and showcase his abilities. And as far as Western United are concerned, although they haven't found an equalizer, they shouldn't be discouraged. This is much better from them. They sluggish and were caught out of the traps. But as you see from Talgalpa there as well, that press is starting to kick in.
And Rudy Wickett has issued a timeout for Hume, considering that United are asking firm questions upon the Black Army. As we cross to a short timeout break, it's Hume who lead by a goal. Not sure about the song choice there, Ethan. Considering it's Valentine's Day, about being cut off. Peter Parthenos not really in the spirit. But in the spirit, perhaps, are those in white. They've enjoyed a quick start here. They've kept United at bay for now. Time, of course, ticking on in this first half. And Ethan, we are rather excited to see the new Pascoe Vale goalkeeper make his debut.
There's a lot to be excited about when it comes to Pascoe Vale in 2025. They made a statement last week and they put the league on notice. And having the Mad Cat in goal will only make them stronger.
Well, Jarvis Gin, if last week's anything to go off of course. Yeah. Jarvis has been in some form and exhibited quite the goalkeeping in both the Championship and Pascoe Vale's return to SFV. So the Mad Cat will have his work cut out for him to rival the number one by number current goalkeeper of the Lions. They take on FC Carlton Heart to round out the show. Meanwhile, in our second bout, it's Parthenos. Galper was arriving. He's usually rather quick, perhaps sometimes too quick for his own good. On that occasion, a step behind where he had to be.
That was textbook Western United. From what we've seen so far this season, Parthenos picking the ball up in space. Galper immediately making that run to the back post. And this time, just went a fraction too early and wasn't able to apply the finishing touch. But it's positive signs for those in green and black if they're already getting in to those kind of positions and causing those gaps to open up.
Parthenos for Angelatos. Chip pass back towards the cannon. Soto. Angelatos, a little bit of asking of Galper. Parthenos around his marker of Avgo. Not around Alicic, who was there interpreting the space. 7 minutes and 37 remains on this stop clock in the first half. Attic hasn't really had a proper test yet as Galper. Angelatos overplaying it for Parthenos. They just can't see him at the moment, United, to infiltrate through the middle.
No, and it's because of the way that Hume are setting up. They're closing out those central spaces. And then it's almost like they're going man to man when it comes to the press. Forcing Western United wide, and they're making sure that they feel suffocated when they do look to go forward.
Angelatos, a slide, will work from Jonah Madeira. Alicic thought he was off to the races. He had Galper in his way. Parthenos with Maluma. Tried to go through the gates, was Parthenos. Maluma came out on top momentarily. Galper had sight for goal, which was palmed away by Attic. He looked to bounce it like a basketball, Ethan, to try keep it in. In fact, it's gone out for a corner.
He's unlucky, but he made a very smart save, did Attic, and that's the second time he's really been tested by this Western United side tonight. It was Luke Ross's drive early, but you can just sense now that after this timeout, those in green and black have started a lot brighter.
Aaron New will stroll forward, enjoying possession inside the centre semicircle. Aaron New encouraged to shoot. He does so, Aaron New. Now Atticking over the top. He does, but he does not place it right. Interesting from both keepers.
It's been a night for long-range efforts here in Darebin, and Aaron New was nearly the latest victim to be caught out by the long-range shot. It's good thinking from Attic, and it was definitely on. It could have been a very speculative way to double Hume's advantage, but he just doesn't get it on target.
Angelatos, Alicic takes a slide. And now Masane will go aimlessly across the face of everybody. And that just calms things down for the minute. This contest has been rather level peggy in all aspects of it. Both sides rather defensive at the minute as Venegas will look for Maluma.
The one thing is, Western United are trying to quicken this Hume build-up up. In the first period of this first half, you saw that they gave them a lot more time when in possession, trying to build out from the back, happier to sit deep and bring them on. But since they're a goal down and have been a goal down early, without that instant response, United are now taking the initiative and are applying some pressure, trying to catch Hume out higher up the court.
Bear in mind, of course, and that Hume alumni in attendance, that's Mo Temmel, alongside the likes of his former manager. All enjoying this one. Of course, Ethan, before perhaps your tenure here at Futsal Oz, but Mo Temmel, quite the talisman for Hume in the competition. The Jet Saheen involved firmly in that contingent of players that were prominent for Hume at one stage. Of course, a new era in which the club's embarking on, but if we are to look back on the past, I can assure you, and for those watching, want to leave some thoughts on them in the comments to just describe the kinds of players they were. Relentless, Ethan. They would start the game and have the same intensity from the offset right till the final whistle. And they somewhat grew into the game. They got quicker as the game would go on. It was a unique trait about the both of them. Zalicec very, very late. My word, he went sliding in recklessly. Almost Seni, who's hit the deck, looking a little bit worse for wear.
It was a rough challenge. My word, that was late from Zalicec. And we hope that Mohseni's okay. He looks all right. Just testing that left foot out at the moment. And with those past Hume players you mentioned, you can see the essence of that in the way that they're defending at the moment. It's a very determined and resolute style to all but shut out this United attack so far.
No surprises, of course, that the card was issued to Zalicec, following what was a real, well, brain fade of a challenge, in all honesty. Venegas a bit short now. Soto takes charge. Ed Ramadan to get around. Lovely tackle. A ride from Bequero. Soto has two bodies to get around. Evenly matched up in size out of Ramadan and Soto. And it's Tirado who wins on that occasion for United. Corner.
And he does really, really well to win the corner there. Almost backed into the corner. Could have been so easy to give the ball away, but he just keeps it underfoot. Keeps trying to work the angle to get out of a white wall tangle. And eventually wins the corner and is able just to let Western United have a bit of freedom and some possession.
Soto measured for Mohseni. Maluma taking charge. Nice ball control. Ramadan will keep it alive. Attic will control it. Took his time on it and went very long. It was a teasing ball which Sakaruda had to interpret. Bequero was intended to as play, but that was nice from Attic from coast to coast.
And it's something they should utilise more, Adam. That long ball at the moment is something that Western United are clearly struggling with. Aaron Yu didn't claim the first one. They didn't deal with it convincingly. That one, they nearly made a hash of it too. So it's something that Hume should be looking to exploit. The second that Attic gets the ball and is able to release, they should be looking to break quickly.
Western have issued a timeout, their first of the contest. What can Freddie Di Moraes, Noel Soma and Sally Mohammed try conjure up in order to polarise their players as we cross to a short time break? Peter Palmos sends us live Last 4 minutes left in this one. And it's opening half. What can seem to transpire as Ramadan, intriguing, gave it a hit. Bit unbalanced and wasn't far off from testing you.
And it was nearly, once again, directly from a stoppage play that Hume caught Western United out. Ramadan was able to get the shot away and he just fell away as he hit it. It still wasn't a bad effort. Aaron Yu, happy to watch it wide because it was travelling.
Having to really wheel and deal and try get there. Ethan Uroglu. Ramadan perhaps put a touch Mayo on that pass, although number 99 wasn't relenting from trying to keep it in play, but have gotten a corner from it, the Black Army. Venegas, the deepest player. Uroglu on the corner. Taken short to towards the near post. Baquera stabbed at it. Ramadan poked at it, and Yu was able to contain it. Jerry Bardos out of court. The idea was long. Hume really having the measure currently of United.
Hume have executed perfectly. They've gone long. They've found a lot of joy when going long, and it's thanks to Ramadan. His hold-up play has been excellent, and it's just allowed them so much freedom in getting up the pitch. And although they haven't had majority of the ball, they've been efficient when they've had it, and they've utilised it really, really well to just have United scrambling a bit.
Massini. Galatas went central. Luke Ross. Very direct ball for Moseni. Now Venegas leads the counter charge. A bit too much on it for Ramadan. He spammed with the roulette to try keep it in play. And has manufactured a side ball. Baquero for William Venegas, the Colombian. Chip ball for Ramadan, really utilising their strength. Or the strength perhaps of their pivot player. Corner forthcoming.
And it looks like Hume are just executing that long ball game plan better as Parthemos from Luke Ross tries to get Western United going. Uses Ross well. Can they generate something before the break, a moment of magic? They've had the lion's share of possession. Nothing's really come to fruition as of yet, but if anything can happen, it's this man's boot, Elias Parthemos. Ramadan has a foot in, and that ball just a touch too heavy, but once again, Adam, Hume getting that crucial foot in to break up play in the middle of the court.
Just noticing, of course, with Hume that they are really making it difficult for United to go central. Hughes come very deep. Parthemos very lateral. Ross, once again, very direct. But they just can't seem to make this work at the minute. Ross's corner. Is there a moment, Ethan? Parthemos into, wow. That could have gone up. You can interpret at home where that ball was going, considering it was sent into oblivion by the cannon.
The cannon may be misfired on that occasion. And it's chances like these that United, just before the end of the half, you know they haven't been at their best, and they've been frustrated by a really determined and resilient Hume side. But he just needs something out of nothing to draw yourselves level, and then that can give them the side of the break to go again.
Ramadan nearly around Parthemos. He wanted it square perhaps for Uroglu, and now the counter charge stopped by Venegas. Spins around Parthemos, back into danger. Flirts with fire with a backwards pass. Not sure what Hume are trying to cook up there, but they've certainly made a meal of that. Corner taken quickly from Massini. Parthemos. Yakub strolls into the space, takes on the shot, which Ramadan blocks. Minute 42 left in this half. Is there a goal to speak of going into halftime for either side? Massini, very direct, Ramadan. And really wheeling around the court, the big man.
He's acting as that first line of defence, and he's doing it really, really well at the moment. He's allowing Hume to just drop an extra yard as they nearly played themselves into trouble. Fortunate to get out of it.
Massini goes down. Turv Atanasov, with no real qualm about it, will issue a penalty. And a gleaming opportunity for Western United to draw level on the cusp of half-time.
And it's Stonewall. It is absolutely Stonewall. Hands right around. And Elias Parthamos has a real opportunity now to draw Western United level. It hasn't gone for them yet in the first half. It's yet to click. But could this be the catalyst for them to come roaring back into this one?
I mention it each time as a penalty. Kardatic, the rather master of this situation. Parthamos, also quite the esteemed taker. Chance for one apiece. Parthamos makes no mistake from the spot. And with just inside the last 90 seconds of this first half, United have drawn. It's 1 goal apiece.
And they needed that. Been second best for most of this first half, United. Without really much they could do about it. They've been frustrated by this Hume side, who have just known when to nip in and steal the ball. It's their first really clean look of this opening half. And if you want one man to take it, it is Elias Parthamos. He makes no mistake.
And now Luke Ross, he went the cute idea, did the boss. It was a nice combination between himself and Parthamos. Although Luke Ross couldn't provide the finishing touch, that would have been a real 1-2 counter-punch thrown in the face of Hume in the last mere knockings of this opening half. And United currently, Ethan, feeling themselves. They feel as if they might have a chance to hit the front right before this one concludes.
They absolutely are in the ascendancy, Western United. This happened to them the other way around. Match day 1 against Altona. And you just sense with this one that Hume now are in survival mode until the break. They've got a minute to see it out.
Ramadan latching on to a loose, wayward back pass. He goes lateral with some acrobatic skill. Bequero stepping inside. Ross off the line practically. Getting a bit messy in that defensive zone at the minute for United, but they live to see another day. Campos. Can he find a moment of magic? He's been rather nullified since his first goal. Ramadan. Turning beyond that of Luke Ross. Maluma. Inside the last 30 seconds. Is there a measured approach from those in white? Ramadan. Heavy press from Ross. He'll claim it to be their ball. There's a spanner to your perhaps narrative there, Ethan. The Black Army were trying to be patient, and Luke Ross has generated the corner.
It's sloppy from Hume, trying to wind the clock down, almost a bit too complacent that they'd be able to see themselves through until half-time.
Well, looked like a corner, but very deep side ball instead. Wasteful was Parthamos upon that volley opportunity. Yakub, lovely. Gets it back to Parthamos, who lets fly. To quote you there, Ethan, he gave a genuine hit, that of Parthamos. Satic had to spread, he was nowhere near it. And he'll go long, in fact, no he won't. And that will be the proceedings. Quite the amount of takeaways to enjoy following that first half. Hume opened the scoring with Campos to have that equalizer provided by Elias Parthamos in the last minute or so at the dying embers of that first half to have the state of affairs at 1 goal apiece between Hume and Western United. Ethan, any closing remarks before we cross to halftime?
Really a half of two halves. If you look at it, the first 10 minutes, all Hume, but Western United came back in that final closing period and were good value for their equaliser before the break.
SFV's third round, we're practically halfway through it now as we cross to halftime. that of with Western United. To have us at a goal apiece. Now Yaku really hugging that touchline. David Yakub for United. Gerardo Soto short option. Galpa at the back post. Lucross takes his shot.
Like defensively anyway, they've got Western United.
Might have some Super League. Kirkby, the esteemed goalkeeper for Western Australia. And in the Superliga, Barnes Moreland. Perhaps one of these two clubs. We'll never know with what might be on the cards for Kirkby, but they better involve being here in Victoria with your fellow Western Australia.